Hey, everybody, welcome to Game Mess Mornings with me, Jeff Grubb, your host from giantbomb.com. Thank you for tuning in. In this episode, we're going to be talking about new Nintendo hardware because I'll die if we don't have new Nintendo hardware rumors. I'll suffocate on this show. Also, Resident Evil Requiem's latest reveals looking really good. It's going to be a good one because we have Lex Luddy on the show. Lexi, how are you doing?
Rob, other than my entire culture being diminished by one of this website's owners, I'm doing
at
pretty
this point,
okay.
two of the owners have done this now.
Yeah,
we'll
right.
get to all five eventually.
Yeah, you're really just working your way through, all the countries, all the owners.
Yep, that's
just
right.
You're true Americans. I'll give you that.
Oh, thank you. Oh, that's the nicest thing anyone's ever said about us. Yeah, Mike did not know. Well, he mistook the Irish accents in Dragon Quest VII for English accents, which is bad.
I can accept. I can accept being accent deaf. It's seeing a character named Patrick and seeing a character named Maeve and calling those the most British names possible. That's not okay.
No,
that's
he said
real
that?
bad.
Oh,
Yeah.
no, he said that.
A town called like Ballygohan or something, and him being like, "Yeah, that's a really British sounding town."
What's British about the name Patrick? I can't think of a single thing. I don't know what you're talking about. Oh no, even something that Americans would be familiar with. Look, he's going to hear this, and he's going to get mad that I'm not defending him. Too fucking bad, Mike. Get right next time. I don't know what to tell you, bud.
Sorry, Mike.
Yeah, glad you're on the show, though. It's been a good week. No one to blame but myself for my state of mind. I just am not. Obviously, it's the goddamn world, but I'm not sleeping real well, and I'm feeling it. It's Friday. Lucky to have. We're gonna have a long weekend over here. I'm gonna take that. Although I say that, and there's so many things I tried to get done last weekend I didn't finish, so I'm gonna spend all weekend doing that. But whatever. That's neither here nor there. I just need to start getting my sleep schedule back on track, and then I'll mostly be fine. But yeah, I'm glad you're here to help me get through this episode.
Speaking of sleep schedule, I mentioned this in a super chat to you the other night. I was at a Yakuza 3 preview event on Tuesday in London. Problem is, I arrived for that Yakuza 3 preview event on Monday.
Yeah. So, that is also a Mike Minotti thing to do. So,
that's a real Mike Minotti.
It's like, I gotta say, I think we could see why you're lashing out a little bit. All right, you're feeling a little embarrassed.
I read the 13th of January as the 12th of January, just misread it, totally fucking misread it. Arrived there as they were setting up the event space in London, and the guy was like, are you a journalist? And I was like, yeah, and he was like, that isn't on until tomorrow. And I was like, oh. And he's like, you look pretty upset. I was like, I'm a little bit upset. He's like, do you want a cup of coffee? And I was like, yeah, I could do a cup of coffee.
And you had to spend that whole day surrounded by Patricks. It was awful.
Yeah. In fairness, shout out to Sega Pure. They were very understanding, and they were like, we'll get you a hotel for the night. And then
that's sweet.
Yeah, I rebooked my flight, so I'm paying like the flight stuff myself, which is fine, but it's my own idiocy. And that event itself went pretty well. I met a cat called Chicken.
Yeah, that's So you got to take a look at this game. You got to meet a cat named Chicken. Was the cat just like protecting the hotel, the event? What was it doing?
So the event was on in like an indoor market, and the indoor market had they rented out like 2 stores there in the corner. One of them was a retro video game store, and the other one was a ramen shop. And so they just cordoned that off from the rest of the market. And the people who owned the ramen shop had a cache. So the demo section was upstairs, and the cat was just wandering around upstairs with us.
Hell yeah.
And the cat was very chill, sat next to me for almost the entire 3 hours of the event. It was very hard to actually bother playing the game. But yeah, it was a good event. It was... you can read my preview up now on Gamer Guides. It's on my Blue Sky as well. That game's really frustrating already, because in some ways, it is everything I want from a Yakuza 3 remake. It fixes pretty much all of the major problems that I have with that game. But it was alluded to, I think it was yesterday or the day before that you talked about it on this show. The recasting is really bad. It's really, like... not even,
right, yes.
So, there's 2 bits of recasting. One of them is they recasted a kind of your main sidekick in this game, who's kind of meant to be a country he's meant to be like a bit of a country bumpkin who's acting like a big Yakuza big shot. And the whole idea of his side character is that like he's a bit of a like loser, but you learn to love him because he does have a good heart. They've recast him and they've used the face of the guy that they recast him as. Originally, he was like an original design character, wasn't based off anyone's face. And he was meant to look like a bit of a dork. He was meant to look like a bit of a try-hard poser. Now he is a like Hollywood pretty boy. He really is. And it's a weird choice. The other bit of recasting is one of the game's main villains is a guy called Go Hamazaki. And he is meant to be a brick shithouse. He is meant to be one of the most imposing physical figures in the Yakuza franchise. And again, he wasn't based off a real-life person model-wise, which allowed them to really make him look like a fucking brick shithouse.
Right.
They've recast him with a real-world actor and based it off of him, and now he kind of just looks like a 70-year-old Japanese man. Or 60-year-old Japanese man. And the other problem is who they recast him as. And that's where it gets... Yeah. In 2022... this actor, Katagawa, I can't remember his first name now off the top of my head without looking at my article, a video came out of him basically sexually harassing a woman in a hostess club. Shortly after that, a newspaper spoke to the woman and obtained that video and released it. They also spoke to a second hostess who claimed that similar things happened to her on the same night, but there were not videos of that. His agency came out and basically acknowledged it and apologized. They only acknowledged and apologized to the woman who there was video recording of. The other woman never received an apology. And within 4 months, he was back acting again on stage, and now he's back acting on screen. And RGG have chosen to cast him. I understand the argument of, hey, it's hard to replace people in video games, but also in 2019, Judgment came out.
This is why I'm baffled. Go ahead.
And shortly after I think it was a month after the release of Judgment in Japan, it came out in Japan first. One of the actors was caught with possession of cocaine
or whatever. I don't know.
Pierre Taki. He was caught with possession of cocaine. He was arrested, and
actually, was he even caught with possession? My understanding was like he had a positive drug test, and they didn't find anything.
So they charged him with possession and testing positive. And the RGG basically said that for the Western release, which came out a couple of months later, they would be replacing him, and it would no longer be his likeness. It would just be a random character facial likeness. And they also changed the voice actor. And then they patched the Japanese version later on to also remove the actor, and then subsequent, like the PS5 version, the PC version, all don't have Pierre Taki's name. So I actually have a copy of the PS4 version, the unpatched PS4 version, that I picked up in Japan with this guy in it, because I thought it was an interesting novelty. So RGG has been able to do this in the past. They also did it with one of the protagonists.
And do it for something that's just doesn't. I mean, I know in Japan the culture around drug use is very severe, and this is what they do. Like when people get caught with drugs or using drugs, it's like, oh no, we're deleting you from society. Okay, but keep that same energy for abuse. What are we talking about here?
So the really frustrating thing about this is playing that demo, there was a whole side mission. One of the main side sub-stories, the way that there's always kind of like a main side thing that you can do in Zero, it's like the cabaret club. In some of the other ones, it's, go-kart racing or whatever. In this one, it's, you're helping out with a biker gang, and it's a women-led biker gang. And the section that they showed us features basically the dad of the woman who runs the biker gang being to Kiryu like, hey, take care of my daughter and, help her out with the biker gang. And Kiryu kind of sidesteps the question. And then when he goes outside, the daughter's like, I want you to be the boss of the biker gang. And Kiryu says, I don't want to be the boss. I want you to fight your own battles, but I'll support you. And it's a really good bit of writing. It's a really good bit of like actually acknowledging like, hey, this woman should empower herself And Kiryu is trying to enable that. And it's fucking baffling and so at odds with what the studio is doing in real life. And it is so frustrating. It is so hard to like unequivocally recommend this game when those two casting decisions, like even without the questionableness nature to them, are just bad casting decisions. They're just not, they don't improve the story. They take away from the story. And then when you factor in the actual like personalities involved, it feels so at odds with what the franchise wants to represent and tries to represent so often. It's deeply frustrating as someone who like really loves those games.
Yeah, it's and I certainly don't want to like make this from my point of view like a criticism of Japanese culture, but I one of the things I respect so much about RGG's games is they do seem like they are considerate and capable of examining their culture and having some critical thinking about it in a way that
Like
many
it's
Americans
worth
aren't
noting
incapable of. Yeah.
that Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii has a whole sub story where basically you help out a woman who used to be a sex worker and she decides to become an author to write about like safe sex and working in the sex work industry and like how to do it more safely. Like that's a whole sub story in Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii. And so this just feels so at odds with that stuff.
Right. And so yes, so in chat, writers versus executives. Yeah, I kind of have to assume it's something along those lines.
Yeah.
Either way, it's that this is a shame, and they should fix this. They should get rid of this guy and
And like
replace him with
I do
someone.
know in the grand scheme, this is like a pretty small problem. There's other things like you have to consider a game on the whole, but also like hold their feet to the fire on this stuff.
Yeah,
Like there's no
exactly.
reason not to. As press, like we should like actually interrogate these decisions and call attention to them when they happen.
Exactly. All right, thanks for that, Lex. I'm glad you were able to make that trip work, and I hope you get to see Chicken again one day. All right, let's explain ourselves. We're Giant Bomb, independent games media. You could support independent games media, though, yourself. We don't need corporations. We need you. Go to giantbomb.com/join, become a premium member, and support us and ensure we can continue keep doing what we've been doing. That's the number one thing you're going to get out of this, the assurance that this independent games media outlet will continue into the future. You also get, hey, I've started doing Grub Snacks Premium. That's available for you exclusively. There's some other stuff popping up on the site as well. And there's a few things in the works. Again, especially if you were paying attention to the Bombathon, we have a lot of stuff we have to deliver, and many of those things will show up first for premium users. As far as this show goes, most weekdays, I, Jeff Grubb, will help piece your gaming life back together. That includes breaking news and maybe even some of our own original reporting. For all these topics, I'll get the input of a bona fide expert who will make me look smart. If you are watching live on Twitch, welcome. You can always listen to the show later on podcast feeds by searching for Game Mess Mornings or find the RSS feed on giantbomb.com. You can also catch the show later with chapters and timestamps on YouTube. Hello, YouTube. All right, we have a lot to get into.
Before we
Please.
jump into stuff, just
me.
quick shout out to all the people at Inverse that have just lost their jobs.
Oh, really? Oh,
as-
that's terrible. Okay, I didn't see
yeah,
that.
they're divesting from the gaming industry. So huge shout out to folks like Willow Rowe and Hayes Madsen. There's some really great people over at Inverse. I've worked with a bunch of them before in the past, and they're all really nice. So if you see any of them out there on Blue Sky or wherever talking about being out of work, go follow them, go support them, go check out their work.
Yep, the industry is better with them. So hopefully we can find a home for all these people. All right, let's get into it. A potential new Nintendo Switch 2 model has been discovered. This is from My Nintendo News. A Blue Sky user has discovered what appears to be potentially a new Nintendo Switch 2 model code on Nintendo's internal website. So there's like a code name for all these things. Not even a code name. It's like 3 code letters. For example, the original Switch was HAC. The Switch OLED was HEG. The Switch Lite was HDH, and then the Switch 2 was BEE. This new one that is now referenced is OSM, and it does seem to be an entirely new model of Switch, or Switch 2, I should say. What that means, though, no one seems to be exactly sure. Although the speculation right now, everyone is immediately jumping to, oh, this is the Switch 2 Lite, which I gotta say, Lexi, that sounds right to me because Nintendo knows what happened with the Switch Lite last time. They probably are going to be able to get this next one ready quicker because they are preparing to do it probably right out the gate. They're like, we know when we want the Switch 2 Lite. We'll get it ready. And then also the Switch 2 Lite can do some key things in terms of price reduction or cost reduction so that Nintendo can sell it at a lower price. If they could get a Switch 2 Lite out there, that serves a couple of purposes. For one, anytime that there is a Pokemon game that comes out that is exclusive to the Switch 2, you sort of match it up with this thing, and that's the thing that you can tell families to get for kids. And then the other key thing here that's going to be important very soon is Nintendo will eventually want to move on from the Switch 1, which has been they're like, hey, if you can't afford a Switch 2, go get a Switch 1. And that's been kind of a fair proposition because there's been a ton of Switch 1 games. They have Switch 1 games coming soon still. But they're going to want to move on from that soon, and having a more affordable Switch 2 would help them kind of put that in their rear view mirror a little bit. I'm buying into this a little bit. I guess the question would be, when does this happen? There's no reason to assume just because it's popping on the website that it's imminent, as in like the next 3 months or something like that. We are not even yet a year out from the release of the Switch 2.
If the big question is when, holiday, right?
Holiday, yeah, I agree.
They do like a September release, get it like in store shelves, and like they'll know where their pricing situation is at by then. And yeah, this makes all the sense in the world. I think it will be interesting to see if it's the same screen, because there's been so much back and forth on the quality of the Switch 2's built-in screen, and more so the lack of quality of that screen. And if you have a handheld only device, I think people are going to notice the problems with that screen a lot more. And yeah, I wish that screen was better. Every time I take my Switch and travel with me, I'm like, this is fine, but also, man, that OLED was nice. It was really nice. It was crisp. So good, it was so crisp, and it looked so sharp. And like, there are certain games where you play them on the Switch 1, and you're like, oh, this does look better in handheld mode. Like, this is a better handheld experience in some ways. So yeah, it will be weird if it winds up having a different screen and it's like better than the Premier model's screen. But yeah, I can see it happening. Yeah, what do you think that they would have any reason to like hold on to this for longer than holiday?
I mean, obviously the question marks around like component sourcing will be an issue. Like, yeah, they will try to reduce the costs on this thing, but that comes down to actually being able to get the components at a decent price. And it's like, there's a reason like Valve stopped selling the lowest version of the Steam Deck, right? Because yeah, that was the cheapest one for them to manufacture, but it also had the slimmest margins. So they like selling the more expensive ones because that gives them more margins even as RAM goes up in price. So that's the one thing that I think could hold this up is Nintendo going, if we launch it this year, actually at the price we wanted to launch it at, we are going to be in a situation where we're actually losing money on this device, and we don't want to do that. But we also do not want to sell it for more than $300, $350. No, that's crazy. A Switch to OLED has to be $300, but I don't know. We'll see what Nintendo ends up doing. So yeah, I think this comes out in the holiday, and I agree with your assessment about like the screen is going to be kind of a key point here. It's not going to be an OLED. It'll probably be a smaller screen, so therefore they'll have to source a different model, and that will give them the chance to fix some of the stuff like the ghosting that I don't notice, but like when I'm playing, and I'll be honest, I've not tried to look into it because I know once I notice it, I won't be able to not notice it, and that'll drive me crazy. So for people who have noticed it, it is driving them crazy. Maybe this will be the kind of thing where it's like, okay, yeah, it's still LCD. It's still maybe from the same company or whatever, but it is an improved model or whatever, which is entirely possible. really though, it's like, yeah, I'm really happy with the Switch 2 as it is. I remember very much enjoying the Switch Lite when that launched, just because the Switch 1 felt so flimsy in my hands, and the Switch 1 being one, or the Switch 1 Lite being an all-in-one unit was a big improvement to me. This time around, it's like, that's a little bit less necessary, but maybe they'll have some other things in their pocket to make this thing feel extra cool. At the very least, though, they're gonna want something to sell to younger players, and a light is the answer to that for sure.
As someone who only ever had one active Switch at a time, do Nintendo cross saves? How are they when it comes to stuff like that with like having an account on two Switches?
Yeah, so it's not too bad if you're one person. If you got a family, then it gets a little bit more complicated because then the virtual game key card situation gets a little bit frustrating. But I have bounced back and forth between my Switches using the virtual game cards, and it's been not much of a problem. And the cloud saves, as long as I think you have to have Nintendo Switch Online, the subscription to get the full cloud save features. As long as you have that, it's been mostly seamless. It just downloads every time you start a game and you go. And yeah, I've had no issues with that. So it's like that'll work for sure. But I think most people are probably going to be in your situation where it's like, this is my new active Switch. And after spending, $500, $450 on the Switch 2 already, I bet there will be quite a bit fewer people who are going to jump on a Switch Lite as opposed to last generation, where it's like I was upgrading every time they introduced a new thing. I was upgrading, although I will probably do the same thing this time because I'm a sicko and a dummy. I guess okay. So we're all assuming. I think everyone in chat's assuming. You and I are assuming. Yes, this will be a Switch Lite rather than OLED. They will do an OLED eventually, though, right?
They'll do an OLED down the road when people wouldn't be aghast at the idea of buying another Switch so quickly. That is, functionally the exact same, just with an OLED. Like this is for a different market. The Switch OLED, in a lot of ways, is it's a replacement console halfway through the generation to reset the price. So they'll hold on to it for. I'm willing to bet the base model Switch will be here for at least another 3 years. At least before we get an OLED.
Yeah, it was quite a while before we got the OLED. We actually got the Switch 1 revision first. The extended battery version came out
Was the
first.
OLED 2019?
No, I think
2020.
I think Switch Lite was 2019. So yeah.
Yeah. OLED was a bit before. It came out with Metroid Prime Remaster. That was the first Switch OLED game I remember hearing about.
Yep. Sam O'Nice and some other people are chat saying OSM OLED screen model. Maybe, but like Nintendo does like to be a little bit more cheeky with these codes. So all right. Lexi, the Switch 2 is BEE. So B. Do you have a guess for why that is the code name for the Switch 2?
The Switch 2 is full of bees.
That's right. That's how it works. Wow, I didn't think you were going to get it. Okay.
That's how they power it.
So B in Japanese is Hachi, which is also the number 8, which this is the 8th Nintendo console. That's what people believe is actually happened. That's how it got its name. Yeah. So I don't know if OLED Switch model is something. Maybe they would, because maybe they're not always that cute, and maybe B is something else. But yeah, I think that is what is happening here.
All right. I preferred my guess.
Yes. Well, I mean, your guess is not. It's also just true. It's just that it has nothing to do with the code name. That's the thing. That's the only difference. That's just a coincidence.
Like the fan on this sounds weird. It's actually just the bees.
It's the bees. All right, let's see. ASUS has stopped producing the NVIDIA RTX 5070 Ti and 5060 Ti 16 gigabyte model, saying they've reached end of life. This is from Igor Bonificek at Engadget, who says, did I get the name very wrong?
No, I just had the thought of those are end of life, but the 3060 isn't end of life.
So that's the thing here. ASUS is basically just saying, they're talking to the Australian YouTubers, Hardware Unboxed, who usually do good reporting, telling them, we're not making those anymore. And everyone's like, oh, is NVIDIA not sending out the stuff for that anymore? And NVIDIA came back and said, no, we are. And ASUS is like, no, this is us being like, we can't source 16 gigabytes of RAM for either of these cards in any affordable way imaginable. We ain't making that shit anymore. So yeah, the 3060, the 8 gigabytes is something that is apparently much more affordable, surprisingly. And they're gonna kind of keep doing that instead. This is gonna be something I think we continue to see. It begs the question: what does the next generation of cards look like? They're just gonna be all 8 gigabyte cards. Yeah, there's your 57. That's rare right there from ASUS even.
Yeah. Yeah, from ASUS. That piece that I wrote for Into the Spine of like, hey, feels like I got in right at the end of the death or something, building this PC. Boy, I feel that even more every single day. Feels weird. Yeah, that was a real sweet spot card for me price wise. Like I definitely couldn't afford a 5080. And anything below that probably would have been a bit frustrating to work with in a few years for work stuff. So yeah, this sucks.
This sucks. Yes. 5070 Ti, 16 gigabytes of VRAM. Yeah, you'll be good. And that is the kind of the amount of RAM, the amount of power that most people are like, yeah, it's gonna make you real comfortable in terms of gaming going forward. Now everyone's looking around like, hey, can developers do anything to make sure that we can continue using 8 gigabytes of VRAM in a way that is less painful than it has been getting recently? And this is just a sign of like things yet to come. Like this is them cutting off these cards. So, well, yeah, what is NVIDIA going to replace them with? Not much. I mean, they've already said they're cutting production on the cards that they're making this year, and that does not even include anything in like an eventual 60 series, which we're still far away from. Yeah, the solution is going to be give us the older cards with less RAM, and that's how they're going to solve this.
I know people were really disappointed with the Steam Machines announced specs, but suddenly that lower VRAM seems like very forethought and thoughtful of like, hey, it's going to be hard to get like more VRAM if we want to make these.
Yep. Yeah, and like, yeah, Unused Cow says like, yeah, there's no way to make 8 gigabytes of VRAM work like it did 6 years ago. It's impossible. I think I think we're just going to be in this spot where your games are just going to run shitty. Like, yeah, there's only so much developers can do to sort of optimize for older specs, but the toothpaste is out of the tube, and I don't fully understand how that works. But I bet developers are going to get a lot of questions about this in the next couple of months. And I'm looking forward to hearing how every single like studio sort of responds and says, look, yeah, we get it, but here's why that's not going to work, or we'll do our best, but here's why that's not going to work. My expectation is the real place that we end up with all of this is just pain and more expensive products than ever before.
We're going back to the PlayStation 1 style of things where there's just no textures on anything. They're just plain colored polygons.
That's the dream.
I'm playing a game at the moment that has a photo mode, and one of the photo mode options is just it takes away all of the game's textures and just shows you the triangles, and it looks fucking awesome. It's so cool. I love it. I do wonder, like the Steam Deck did seem to like change things a little bit, where it's like early on in the year, in the first couple of years of the Steam Deck, big new games didn't run well on it. And now, like, my expectation is, I bet I can boot up this big new game, and it'll, it's going to look like shit, but it's going to run. They're going to at least have accounted for this device and make it like playable on here. And I hope the Steam machine kind of accomplishes the same thing, because if it does, then most people's computers right now should be good for the next few years, and hopefully that'll skate us through everything. But that won't be the case across the board, especially for every new big game. All right, let's take a break. When we come back, plenty of new headlines to get to. If you want to skip out on this ad break, we have premium versions of the show for video and audio. Those do not have ads, and you can skip out on this. In the meantime, though, we will be right back.
All right, it's Game Mess Mornings continuing along here. Jeff Grubb, Lex Luddy. Let's get over to Resident Evil Requiem. Really does look like two different Resident Evil games mashed together. That's from Michael McWhirter over at Polygon. There's some details here. Like the creators behind the Resident Evil Requiem have stressed that the game is one part dread-inducing survival horror, one part action horror. That distinction was made even more clear in Capcom's latest Resident Evil showcase on Thursday. The game's dual protagonists not only play differently, they even save their games differently, as the iconic Resident Evil ink ribbon returns in Resident Evil Requiem. During the new Resident Evil showcase, game director Koshi Nakanishi explained that heroine Grace Ashcroft's gameplay style is modeled after Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 7, which offered more traditional horror elements. Leon S. Kennedy's gameplay is more action-oriented, a la Resident Evil 4. That makes Requiem an experience with an emotional range unlike any other Resident Evil game to date, Nakanishi said. Now, I think they've tried this, like, bouncing back and forth between stuff before. My understanding is some of that to 6. I played 5 and kind of was done. I think I played some 6. I don't remember.
You need to play 6 on this side. I've beat that game. It's...
Mike wants us to play through it co-op, and yeah.
6 has one good campaign in it, and it's the Leon campaign, and then it keeps going.
Yes, so this idea here of bouncing back and forth between scary stuff and action stuff, I think it could be worrisome. I think this is a very different Capcom that kind of knows what they're doing in a way that they did not before. And looking at this game, confidence is the word I keep coming to. It's like, oh, they seem really confident in what they're doing here. And I think they want to have the action stuff where it's like, being able to knock these zombies around and have them stumble back or shoot them in the leg and have them stumble up against the wall. And then that creates this opportunity for doing these environmental attacks. That is like really exciting because it's like, oh, what other systems do they have in here that will make that stuff even more like dynamic? We don't know. Can't wait to see. But it's like that is very different than the scariest side of Resident Evil, which I think a lot of people would miss. So have both and use Leon S. Kennedy's action stuff as a release valve on the tension you're building up on the Grace Ashcroft side. And that's what it looks like it's going to accomplish to me. I'm really hopeful that this game is going to really nail that.
On a totally unrelated note, anyone else here have like a weird urge to buy a Porsche suddenly?
I'm hungry for a Porsche and a Hamilton wristwatch for some reason. Just starving.
Yeah, just kind of feel like I need one.
The masters of subliminal messaging, Capcom, trying to convince us to buy products. That good for them. Video games love.
I really like that it's a Cayenne. I really like that it's like, no, he doesn't drive like a sports car. He drives a 4x4.
He drives a Porsche Cayenne. Yep. Big old honking weird thing for the biggest douchebags on the road. I bet we don't have a single Porsche Cayenne driver in this audience. So I don't think I offended a single person there. Game looked really good though. I am excited.
I've played that game 3 times now on 3 different platforms.
3 times. Wow.
I played PS5. I played it on PC, which is when I went to an NVIDIA event in Gamescom and was in an old industrial building, and the Capcom section was in the back in like a mini cave, and it got so hot in there that my PC crashed. And there was someone from Capcom PR very angrily sending emails on their phone being like, it's too warm in here. And then I played it on Switch in Japan. And that Switch version is kind of fucking nuts that it looks as good as it does. Really kind of wild. Like experimented a little bit with like the lighting and the ray trace lighting. It's kind of wild that like it looks as good as it does on a Switch. It's weird. It feels illegal playing it.
The Switch 2 is so surprising because that's like Ampere hardware. That's like 4 generations old NVIDIA shit. It's not going to be able to handle anything that's happening in games today. And it turns out NVIDIA just put in the extra sauce specifically for ray tracing. And they're like, we just want to make sure that this thing can handle the kind of light ray tracing that we're probably going to throw at it. And yeah, they succeeded. So that's happened repeatedly now. There's that recent game that requires a lot of ray tracing.
Oh, Layers of Fear.
Yes, yeah.
Layers of Fear had ray tracing, and so did Star Wars Outlaws.
Yeah, yes. And those games that like everyone's like, why does this run so well? And it's like, it turns out, the Switch 2 is better at ray tracing than any of the other consoles right now. So surprise, surprise, it's handling it very well. Yes, we mentioned the 2 different ways of saving. Michael McWhorter brought that up in his story here. Grace and Leon won't just feel different in moment-to-moment gameplay. They'll also have different save styles. One of the game's difficulty options, called Standard (Classic), requires Grace (and only Grace) to use limited supply of ink ribbons to save her progress at typewriters. It's a big throwback to classic Resident Evil games and helps differentiate her from Leon in a big way. Leon will not require ink ribbons for him to save. Yeah, again, just looks like they're having fun with this one, playing around with a lot of classic elements, and then just
Capcom
popping
has
so many
a
zombie heads.
Yeah, Capcom has a wild year. Like kicking off with this, then Pragmata, and apparently Onimusha will be out before the end of the year. Like I've played all three of those. I'm like, I want to play more of those.
Yeah, I want to just kind of see what's going to be possible in this game, and then kind of see what Capcom has for the rest of the year. Absolutely. All right, let's keep going here. Hi-Fi Rush has been rated for Switch. Again, this is from Ollie Reynolds at Nintendo Life. Hi-Fi Rush, the most GameCube-esque title to launch in the last 5 years, has once again, I would say Dreamcast, but I get it, Nintendo Life, has once again been rated for the Switch by Peggy. Sounds familiar? It should, because this has happened before, back in April 2024, when developer Tango Gameworks was still sitting under Microsoft. A Peggy rating for the game on Switch appeared, but sadly nothing happened, and Microsoft unceremoniously ditched Tango Gameworks entirely later that year because it's a joke of a company. The company has since been acquired by publisher Krafton, and so this latest rating could actually result in a port coming to fruition. Indeed, the source over on Peggy lists 2 separate entries, one underneath ZeniMax Europe Limited, but that's the lists, and then the other one here is Krafton. So yeah, there you go. This is probably it. The game's probably coming to Switch finally. It did seem like they just had it like ready for Switch and then didn't launch it. I wonder if that was like, it's not worth it because the performance is bad and we don't care about Tango Gameworks. But now, Krafton, who's a weird company in its own rights, a very weird company, but at the very least, sounds like this game might be able to come out to the Nintendo platform. So should we be expecting it pretty soon?
I think Michael O'Leary in chat is saying that Limited Run had one of their listings say Switch, so I imagine it's like imminent announcement. I don't think it will be announced at that Microsoft thing, but it will probably be. Oh wait, no, of course it fucking won't be announced at the Microsoft thing. Christ.
Nope.
I bet this gets announced pretty soon. There's always the swirling rumors of like February directs, early year directs. And so if there is one, that would be like a shoo-in to show up there. I will say, point. As much as I like this in theory, I think trying to do like the QTEs with the Switch buttons would break my brain. My brain is too...
sure, yeah.
Like my primary, like when I play video games, it goes PlayStation buttons, Xbox buttons, big gap, Nintendo buttons, and I just like I can't switch between them quickly. So I would get very annoyed very quickly. The PC version of Hi-Fi Rush actually has a cool feature where no matter what controller you're using, you can choose the button display. So you can be like, I always want PlayStation buttons.
Oh yeah, sure, yeah, okay.
Which is it's a nice, like, why not do that? You you have the assets, just use it. Like if people prefer those buttons.
I almost think it's like, don't even put any sort of labels on the buttons. Just show the 4 buttons and highlight the one that I should be pressing, because then it's like never a problem. But I get it. It's something that has tripped me up for sure, but I'm much less, or I'm more used to it. It's jumping between all these things because I've been doing it so much. Direct is a good call. This could show up at the Direct. I could see that. When it does, Krafton, who just loves them, that AI, talks about how that's going to basically do all the jobs they have going forward. What are the chances that we get an AI trailer for Hi-Fi Rush that's just depressing?
Yeah, I knowing some of the people at that studio, I am like, I really hope you get to keep doing your own thing. I have faith in you as creatives. I just hope that you have a long enough leash to be able to push back on this stuff. Especially now that like Mikami isn't there anymore.
Yep, exactly. Amazon Games confirms MMO New World has a year left before it goes offline permanently. This is from Andy Robinson at VGC. Amazon Games MMO New World Aeternum has been pulled from storefronts and will shut down permanently in 12 months' time. It's confirmed in a post clarifying the future of the game following the October announcement that Amazon is moving away from MMO development and ending service on New World. It's now been confirmed that the game will go offline permanently on January 31st, 2027. At the time of the publication, the game had already been pulled from Steam and the Xbox Store. Beginning July 20th, 2026, players will no longer be able to purchase in-game currency, Amazon said. Amazon's foray into gaming has been bizarre. Like
They released 3 MMOs back to back. Like,
yes,
weird.
like MMOs are the
work.
future. It was weird, and like I don't think anyone understood. Like, why do you think this is the way to do it? And then New World did kind of pop off there for a bit, as some of these games can do. But what does that mean? Because a couple years later, it's not doing what it needs to do, and now you're shutting it down. And now it's just kind of like a bummer. Like, oh yeah, another game that people aren't going to be able to play anymore.
I played a bit of New World at SGF 2024 for the Eternum release on consoles. And I remember pretty much nothing about it other than the appointment was booked to me as a new AAA game from Amazon, and I showed up and it was a PS5 port of their MMO that had been out on PC for years. I was like, dude, dude. They did give me a 16-ounce Yeshi metal thermos cup that I still use. Yeah, so I was like, okay, this hour of my life was worth it just for that, because I've drank out of this like once a week for going on a year and a half now. But like, yeah, this whole endeavor seemed weird. I think the owner of the studio's out there on Twitter, like making cash offers, deals to Amazon to buy the IP. So we'll see how that goes.
I'm gonna see if I have New World I do have New World. Okay, so I can play this still. It should be my first MMO. I think that'd be fun. I think I would make Mike Minotti happy if I never played World of Warcraft and only ever played New World.
It's a totally serviceable like action RPG in an MMO format. It's kind of one of those where they try to make it more Souls-like in its combat, but like it's fine. But yeah, it just, I don't know. Amazon games is such a fucking weird thing. I think I said it in the comments of Game Mess Mornings yesterday. Like, Amazon, really good at making TV shows based off of games. Can't make the video games for shit, but they're really good at basing the TV shows off of them, apparently.
Yep, I mean, and that's the story with all these big corporations trying to figure out how to make games. They're bad at it. It's a tough business to figure out, especially if you are a big tech business, because you could put 12 people on a product in a lot of other parts of the economy, and suddenly you have a thing that's making you $1 billion. And to make a game, you need thousands of people now, and they're like, wait, what the hell are you talking about? That's not how this works. It's like, no, that's how games work. Are you still down? And they go, no. They freak out and they leave. Google did it. The Amazon's kind of in the process of doing it. They have other games now, right? Though I guess they're doing the Tomb Raider stuff, but they're having someone else make that. So
it seems like their idea for games going forward is treating it like their movie studios, which is kind of treating, game studios as like union for crews. Just being like, we're hiring a crew, they're going to do out and do their own thing. Like, our actual movie team is pretty small, our actual game team is pretty small, but we hire studios to go out and do this work for us with our IP. Which could work. Yeah, could work.
Let's see. We got this Amazon here. Julian Gerighty, overseer of the division, departs massive for DICE. John Hicks at GamesIndustry.biz has this here. But just last week, Julian Gerighty was like, hey, the division's going to be the Division 3 that I'm making. This is going to be the big shit. This is going to have a huge impact. It's going to be massive. And now he's gone, and he's going over to DICE. It's time for me to hang up my bag, keeping the watch as I go on another grand adventure. The division's future burns bright, and I can't wait for you to discover what the team has been working on. Ubisoft says, yeah, we're good over. Excuse me, we're good. He's moving on, but don't worry. Division 3 is going to be great. We'll see how much Ubisoft cares about anything that's not Assassin's Creed in a couple of years. But yeah, they said we are incredibly proud of everything Julian has contributed to Massive. We look forward to seeing how he continues to elevate our craft on a global stage. Blah blah blah. He made Star Wars Outlaws, a game I really like. I really like the Division. Massive also made that Avatar game. I don't know how much he was involved with that. That was decent. It is not too surprising though when a big, a senior developer though gets a new job, kind of moving on somewhere else. That happens pretty frequently. And if you are going to move around, I suppose going from the unknown of the husk of Ubisoft, like this is the dead like a zombie version of Ubisoft. Anything that is not Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, and Ghost Recon. Uh, why not go to EA that has a promising future? I don't know.
Yeah, I guess like Battlefield 6 is a hot commodity right now. Like it is continuing to do quite well for them, and it seems like a lot of the groundwork has been done by that team and Vince Zampella. But yeah, I think it's weird because he was out there less than 3 weeks ago, talking up the Division 3, kind of being like, yeah, it's going to be the biggest game yet. It's going to be, like the vibe of 1, but the scope of 2 and things like that. And he was really getting out there promising the world on that. So there's obvious reasons why this would have come together pretty short notice when you consider where he's going and the position he's taking up. But it's also kind of weird that he is leaving this thing at what seems like a pretty crucial time for the Division and Massive. And Massive just had layoffs as well. Like, it's kind of seems like a time where you would want someone battening down the hatches and holding the gates to make sure that things go smoothly for the next while. So yeah, I'm a bit worried for Massive in that sense.
Yeah, I think Massive is one that's just like it'll come down to the Division 3, but those last 2 games, Star Wars Outlaws didn't perform and Avatar didn't perform. Even if they've had some like bumps in player numbers recently, it's like they kind of have to hit out of the gate to justify all the money that Ubisoft put into them. So yeah, like they laid people off as you said, and the focus is elsewhere. They're 2 different Ubisofts now. Obviously, the one over there, Tencent, but again, this is the one that no one really knows what the future of this side of Ubisoft really looks like. And so I don't blame them. I do wonder. It's like, okay, are you bringing sort of the connected multiplayer and then kind of campaign stuff over to Battlefield? Is that what you're going to be doing, or are you just going to be making sure that the multiplayer Battlefield 6 game is as good as it possibly can be? That both sides of that equation for Battlefield seem like they need that attention. Although he did just make a Star Wars game, maybe he's going to make Battlefront 3.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Totally. But in some ways he is probably a good fit because like Division, very big head count on those games,
Yes.
and Battlefield is now like 3 or 4 studios working on it.
It's sprawling. Good point.
Yeah.
He knows how to
so
manage a sprawling group of developers. That's a really good point.
But yeah, good luck to him.
All right. Sony wiped over 1,000 shovelware games off the PlayStation Store without warning, all from a single developer. This is from Connor McCarr at Eurogamer. Over 1,000 games from a single developer have been removed. The developer in question was The Game, THI Games, or I guess, which prior to the wipe yesterday was the 4th highest ranked developer on the PlayStation Store in terms of quantity. According to Rob Thanatos, who first spotted the change, all of the released games have been totally removed from the store, the only exception being trophies tied to these titles, which remain present to those who unlock them. So shouts out to those sickos out there that were buying these $2 freak match 3 games like the Jumping Soda and the Jumping Taco Turbo for getting your trophies and getting it while the getting was good.
You can just say Greg Miller. It's fine.
Greg Miller, you fucking sicko. Yeah, hey, I get it. I always lean towards just don't buy these games if you don't like them. But having your store clogged up is frustrating, and Sony's allowed to decide what's in their store. So no, the only company I think shouldn't be allowed to decide what's in their store is Valve, because they're basically a monopoly in my eyes. So they should be able to let everyone in because I don't want them picking winners and losers. But Sony, sure, why not? Cut this out. But also, it's like, was this real? I use the PlayStation and I never really noticed this stuff. I guess that's anecdotal, but still, it's like, I don't, just ignore it, move on, and buy the games you want to buy instead. Was this really hurting anybody?
Films outlives another.
That's right. He's making art. All right.
Yes, I'm in love with your dead grandma 3 online battle royale is out now for free.
Beautiful. Yeah, it clogs up the recent tabs. Yeah, I don't know. I've always seen people kind of, recently though, I haven't seen people complaining about this much. It was something maybe a little bit more a couple of years ago. I always say, hey, just improve the discoverability on your store. That's maybe a better use of your time. But
The
you
thing
do
that
that pretty
I would
quickly by getting
really,
rid of 1,000 crappy games. So I get it.
yeah, the thing that I really wish PlayStation would do is add like a developer page, because
Yeah.
they still don't have that. And that's just like a very easy discoverability thing of like, I want to see other Devolver games. And it just makes it a lot easier to sort through stuff.
Yep.
But yeah, that feels like something that like Nintendo has that and PlayStation doesn't. And it feels like it would help a lot.
Yep. Nintendo Store is a mess though too.
Oh
And
God, yeah.
yeah, and again, like I just ignore it for the most part. Nintendo makes it a little bit more difficult to ignore because their discoverability is nothing. They're really bad
Yeah.
at it. Okay, let's see. Last thing, excuse me. Sega's gearing up for Sonic's 35th anniversary. What should we do? How should we prepare? How do we protect ourselves?
Ugh. I
I
don't want to go
know.
to any more Sonic parties. Not after the Sega one I went to in Japan with the pole dances and Shadow the Hedgehog. I
Which
wish
is
I was
one and the
joking.
same. Yeah.
I wish I was joking about that.
All right, yeah, we'll do chili dogs and Sonic teenies, everybody, and that's how we'll celebrate. They'll probably have some stuff to announce this year. We'll see. 2026 marks the Sonic the Hedgehog's 35th anniversary, a thrilling milestone for one of the most legendary gaming and entertainment icons for over 3 decades. Blah blah blah. They're saying he's old. He's an old dude. But those movies make a lot of money, and they're going to want to keep making games and stuff to keep it relevant. So we'll see how they celebrate it. All right, let's see here. Poll question from yesterday. I have my results over here, but I'm going to refresh to see what the latest stuff is. Are you going back to your Animal Crossing island in New Horizons? 9% said no, I'm starting a new island. 18% said yes, I am just going back to my old island. 26% though said no, I'm waiting for the next game, so not even going to play it again. And then 47% said no, I don't play Animal Crossing. So a fair number of people, though, going to just jump back in and play it one way or the other. And that's, if you that's about a quarter of respondents, a little bit more than that. And if you take into account how much that game sold, I bet that DLC is going to do just fine for Nintendo. I just kind of I wish we would get a new Animal Crossing sooner rather than later, though. Yeah, I wonder how people are feeling. I've not touched it. Samo Nice in chat says found it real boring. We'll see what people say. Okay, that's out of the way. No new poll question because it's Friday, so it's time to do the Bomb 12. We'll get to that here in a second. Before we do that, though, Lexi, why don't you tell people where they can find you on the internet, what you have going on, all of that good stuff.
Yeah, so I have that preview of Yakuza Kiwami 3 up now on gamerguides.com. You can also check out, I'm going to have some reviews going up there over the course of the rest of this year. I'm helping them out kind of expand their reviews and previews section as they try to grow and diversify that site. You can check out Start Menu, the website I run for people trying to break into the video games media industry. We had our Winter Spectacular going on. We still have a few pieces coming in. Loads of really cool pieces went up this year. Go check out some of those. And the Giant Bomb guest lists. Me and Marino edited like 60 of those, and those are all live now. There may or may not be one or two more trickling in, depending on how things go. And yeah, I'm super proud of all the work we did on those, and they look great on the site. So shout outs to Chuck. So go read some of those as well.
Excellent. Yeah, you can go read those on Giant Bomb. Speaking of Giant Bomb, we're going to be doing Unprofessional Fridays later today, where we're going to do that 5-player team mode in Fortnite. We're going to go check in on Fortnite. Is the South Park stuff, is that live? I guess we're going to do South Park stuff because we're millennials, since the law. I think we have to. And then other stuff's happening, but behind the scenes, and we're getting stuff ready for debuting, later this month or next month. We'll let you guys know. But it's going to be a busy day over here. But yeah, check out giantbomb.com for all of it and more. All right, let's see. I think it's time for the Bomb 12. That's right, everybody. These are the 12 games that really matter to people who are really playing video games. We get your responses. We tabulate. You can always submit your game by going to Giant Bomb. You can find the vote here thing right next to the Bomb 12 on the homepage. In the meantime, here are the results for January 16th. Starting with number 12, you did it, bud. Mike Minotti, you did it. 2 Point Museum, number 12 on the Bomb 12. That's a big accomplishment for that game. And people, I think, were saying, yeah, I know, right? Obviously, he's rigged things over here. But yeah, he obviously that was happening because he pushed it so hard during Game of the Year, and people listened to that and they wanted to check it out, and they're in the community, and they dropped it on the Bomb 12. Number 11, Clair Obscure Expedition 33, which has just been hovering up and down this chart at the entire time we've been doing it. Number 10, Ghost of Yotei. Number 9, Fire Emblem Path of Radiance, the latest addition to the Nintendo Switch Online's GameCube library. This is a classic. I think a lot of people were happy to finally see this because if you wanted to play it and you wanted to do so and on the up and up, game is very expensive. Number 8, Elden Ring Night Rain, which I think got an update recently, and that's sent people back to it. Number 7, Hytale. What is Hytale? Is this the Minecraft like?
Yeah, it's the Minecraft RPG like thing. Yeah, I have no idea other than you have to buy it through their website, and it's been in development since 2015.
Okay, both those things are like, all right, yeah, Minecraft. That sounds about right. Okay, I'm gonna check out Hytale. Number 6, Sectori. I keep playing this, and
it's a good game.
It's really good, but I just need
I
to
bought it again on PC because I got a review code for it on PlayStation, and then I built this PC, and I was like, I want to keep playing this.
Yes, hell yeah. Number 5 is Final Fantasy Tactics: The Evil East Chronicles. Number 4 is Arc Raiders. That means number 3 is Big Hops, the new 3D platformer from Chris Wade and his team over there. That's a real good game. We got a review up on the site if you want to know more about it. It's 3D platformer where he plays a little froggy. It's got great movement. Number 2, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Big week for that. That seems like one of those games a lot of people coming out of 2025 are going, oh, that's in my backlog. I meant to try that. I should go give it a chance. And then number 1, continually, and for like the last month or so, Hades 2. This is the one that everyone just can't put down. I'll note that Metroid 4 dropped off the list. So it was in the top 3 last week. Was not kind of nowhere to be seen this time.
The good news is it did really well for you in Fantasy Critics, so that it balances.
It crushed. That's right. And in my mess of a guess, where I had to guess what its Metacritic was going to be or its Open Critic was going to be 3 months before it came out.
You really nailed it on that one.
I believed I trusted in Retro and Nintendo and in Love, and I said 96. And it didn't do that.
Nothing gets 96 anymore.
I know. I just wanted to have a world where I could believe that magic can still happen. All right?
Like, video games stopped getting that when there became more than 10 websites, you know?
Someone pointed out, like, there's a lot of websites that do the 5-star scale now, and it's like that drags things down. Yeah. Absolutely. All right. So there you go. There's the Bomb 12. We'll have a new one next Friday. I'll update things today, so the link on the website on giantbomb.com will be the new form so that you could submit your game for the next Bomb 12. We'll tabulate it again, come back with those results on Friday. Until then, though, let's see here. Lexi, thank you so much for hanging out with me today and talking about video games. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, anytime, Grubb, anytime.
And thank you all for watching and listening. You are the best audience in gaming. Until next time, have a good one. Take care of yourself, and goodbye.